Hi everyone, this is Christina, and on the show today we have Mark Smeets to talk about lessons on career and personal growth with life and lean concepts. So, our first question is, what is lean and why are you a proponent of it?
So I'm a big proponent of lean because there's two things that I have really been drawn to. It's the humbling aspect of it and is the empowerment aspect of it as well. So in terms of being humbled, when I started my own lean journey a couple years ago, when my father-in-law had gotten sick and passed away and all that, I've been on my own journey of trying to just self-discover that question that we all ask, which is, what do I want to do with my life? Mm-hmm. And a lot of everything that I had done in my life is something where I wish I could have held a mirror up to myself to say, watch yourself and watch what you do. And lean for me fit into, I was already doing a lot of these things, a lot of improvement, a lot of just driving to make myself better and never be, and you get to a certain point and then you want to get to the next point and get to the next point and then to the next point. That had always been in my head, but I didn't realize that doing that and finding that within others, not just yourself, was a thing. Mm-hmm. And to find out that really lean was sort of that journey of being humbled and going down that path, it was a huge thing. And that's probably a big reason why when I sat down in my class, it just hit me right away. Mm-hmm. The other reason is the empowerment aspect of it. And just to be part of something where, you're empowering not only yourself, but others to improve the work that you're doing. And you can take pride in the quality of work that you do. Mm-hmm. The pitfalls that we live in this society is as much as globalism has been a blessing and our borders of the world are slowly disappearing. You get these large mega corporations that will, we're just going to move our offices off to another country and we're going to lay all these people off. There's no investment for these companies to stay. There isn't. They'll get the tax revenue, they'll save taxes, they'll save money because they've made it all about the money, but they don't make it all about the people. Mm-hmm. And the people are what drive a business. A business is just a stack of paper. It's just a ledger. That's all it is. Lean is about empowering people to strip away the waste and to deliver value to their to customers. And the customers, this is the best part of it, is it's not just a business philosophy, it's a life philosophy as well.
Wow.
It can apply to everything. It can apply to what you're doing in your business and what you're doing in your own life. Mm-hmm. If I'm talking to my son or my wife, they become the customer, right? Honey, son, what do you need? How can I help you? That is very different from the business world, the typical business world of where we live in, where you might have a general manager or an executive director that barks orders at you. Mm-hmm. That's not what lean is about, and that's not what leadership is about.
Great. So tell me what you learned about yourself while applying lean to your logistics career.
So the question that I was really trying, I think, to answer for myself was, it wasn't what I wanted to do. It wasn't so much about that. It was more like, who's the leader I want to become? And I really didn't have any good sort of leadership examples around. Yes, there are tons of amazing leaders in the world that we can all look up to, but they didn't spark that personal connection with me because I didn't feel it within myself. And there was nothing that I felt like I could take charge of within my own world and improve upon at the time. Now, I say that now in hindsight, of course, because if I could transport myself back to a couple of years ago, I just slap myself in the face and be like, no, Mark, you are the leader that you always wanted to be. Mm-hmm. Just be you, which is true. But you have to go on that journey of self-discovery to get to those aha moments. So the one thing that really helped me a lot was learning about servant leadership. And the best example I can give of servant leadership is if somebody has a question or somebody needs something, is how can I help them? How can I help you? It is not about me dictating to this person, I need you to do this. The world's got enough of this. People need to turn around, do a humble inquiry, and ask, how can I help you get to your goal? You'll get, we all get to our own goals. We all get there. But the question needs to that question needs to turn around. And that's what people need to start doing.
So is Lean just a business philosophy or actually useful in real life? Like, could you tell us how it's affected your role as a father and husband?
The idea of having a separation of business life and personal life, where you leave one and go to the other, or the concept of, kind of work-life balance, is a bit of a load of BS to me. You can't separate one from the other. We are our work and we are our family.
That's right.
We should always be willing to. We have to be willing to acknowledge that, because if you cut off one from the other, you are essentially kind of denying your own emotions. If you had a hard time at home and you come into work and you're told to suck it up and just do your work, does that make you feel really good? No, it makes you feel pretty crappy, actually. It's the same thing when you come home from school or from work into home. Your partner is there to listen to you. Your kids, that may be a whole other story. Depending how old they are, they may not want to talk about your day, but that's okay. So there's that part of it. But while it is a business, you can apply the tools and principles to home life quite easily. So I'll see if I can think of an example in my head here. When I was talking about servant leadership, a lot of what goes on in our household, for example, is, there has to be a lot of humble inquiry. There has to be a lot of investigating emotions and feelings and following the process in terms of, what my wife might need or what my kids might need. If my son is having a breakdown and doesn't want to go to school, well, okay, son, let's acknowledge the emotions and find out why. Let's work our way and find out what you don't want to go to school. Is there something that happened emotionally? Is there something physically that you don't want to go into some place for? Break the process down. This is no different than what we should be doing at work. You acknowledge your emotions, and you give everybody a safe place to talk and a safe place to express themselves. And then we focus on the process. And one big thing in Lean is that we blame the process. We don't blame the people. We're not at fault of anything, right? The only thing we're guilty of is being human.
Right.
So the short answer and the easiest answer is yes, you can apply it. I can think of so many different ways that you can practice it as well. And I guess there's two parts. I guess there's kind of two parts to this. You've got the mindset of always wanting to improve, but then you have kind of the grab bag of tools, so to speak. So whether those Lean tools are 5S or 3S or whichever one you want to use. Whether you've got an and-on cord or and-on cord to pull, or whatever Lean tool that you can think of. If you can bring these things into your home life and work on that, that's a great way to practice it. If I take my kids' lunches, for example, when I'm preparing their foods on the weekend, I'll take a batch of time, probably about 2 hours, just to prepare all the foods that I've got, and then I will pop everything into the fridge. And then as each day goes on throughout the week, is when I put all the lunches together, I will take everything out and basically I've got their lunches standardized, so I know what I'm going to put in. I just have to prepare everything ahead of time, and then put all the food in there, and I'm done within 5-10 minutes. It's pretty darn fast, and 5:30 in the morning. That's very helpful.
Right.
So, but if you look at the tools behind it, the concepts behind getting those lunches prepared, for example, you have the concept of stability. Okay, do I know what they're going to eat? Yeah, roughly for the most part I do. Okay, there's stability done. And I'm doing this, if anybody wants to follow along, if you look at the House of Lean, I'm going to do it in that sense. So you've got your first layer of stability. Then you've got your second layer of standardization. Okay, I can apply standardization in many ways. I can put food in a specific area in the fridge. That way it's always easy to grab. I can make a separate area in the fridge where I've got all this food prepared. I can just grab and go. And then I can put all the food into their lunches, and that standardizes well in whatever order I decide to do it. Going on with the food, the house again, now you've got your two pillars. You've got your just-in-time, so basically you're taking the food out as you need it. Mm-hmm. Then you've got your quality at the source. You are the quality at the source. Right. You are inspecting the food as you put it together, and making sure that the food's not rotten, it still smells good, that it's healthy and nutritious and so forth. Mm-hmm. Yes, you've got the roof of the House of Lean, but in between your two pillars, you've also got the biggest factor, which is your involvement of people. Mm. And that's where your kids come in. If your kids don't like the food, again, we'll bring the roof of Lean in there. They're the customer. Mm-hmm. So, kids, if you want me to swap something out, we can easily swap something out, no problem. But they're the ones that you want to get them involved. You want to hear what they have to say. You want to hear their feedback. So that's the easiest way that I can sort of explain, kind of how to, like a simple way to explain those concepts into your home life.
What advice would you like to give our viewers and listeners about what they're learning today?
When I first started this a couple of years ago, I was really confused. And the first thing that I did was I went into Google and I typed in Lean. Mm-hmm. And that was not very effective. So maybe I can help break things down for people. And this may save you some aggravation. At least I wish I would have known this. So you're kind of dealing with three methodologies. You're dealing with Lean, you're dealing with Six Sigma, and then you're dealing with Lean Six Sigma. Mm-hmm. All Lean Six Sigma is the Six Sigma methodology with the concept of the removal of waste through Lean principles added on to the end of Lean. So it kind of becomes a bit of a toolkit. You're going to hear a lot about belts and different colors. Don't be put off by it. The idea of having a green belt, yellow belt, blue belt, black belt, master black belt, all these annoying levels have originated in the Six Sigma world. Mm-hmm. And don't be put off by people doing this, because I see it a lot, especially in business, where they say you need to have a green belt or you need to have a black belt. Yes, all of these belts within Six Sigma have their certain functions. Mm-hmm. However, knowledge-wise, go after the knowledge. Okay. Lean in itself does not have belts. I can't stress it enough. Toyota does not have belts. Mm-hmm. The only thing that Lean has, which is still not part of Toyota, is the Association of Manufacturing Engineers, or AME, has put together a program where you have different levels of bronze, silver, and gold within the Lean framework. And that is where you can be, quote unquote, certified in Lean, but it's not necessarily, it's recognized by quite a lot of places. I can think of one or two companies off the top of my head that have gone through and done it, and it's very good. They have an awesome knowledge base, and it's great. But don't let the quest for the belt be the goal. Let your quest be the idea that you're going to want to improve yourself and improve others around you and make a better world. So that's the big piece of advice I have. Don't be put off by the belts and by the titles, and just because this person's a master black belt, whatever. I don't have any belts. The other thing too is that these belts cost money.
Oh.
So if anybody's got, $6,000 laying around, go through a belt program yourself. Right? Or let alone asking an organization to do it, right? It's a huge investment. So the knowledge is free. You can get it through books and podcasts, and there's tons of those amazing resources out there, but be aware of the history.
So do you have any recommended readings or resources available for our listeners today?
Talk to the people around you and just begin by asking them, what struggles do you face in a day? The people that are around you are a huge resource of inspiration and a great way to get your problem solving muscles going, because this is what a lot of Lean is about. It's really about problem solving. Other things are podcasts. There's a couple podcasts that I absolutely love. I'm a huge, massive fan of, gigantic fan of what Gemba Academy does. And if you're curious about anything Lean, choose any of the podcasts and you will find something that will blow your mind in some sense. I can't believe that this resource that the podcasts are free, and absolutely love what these guys do. If you're searching for a bit more purpose and meaning in your work, maybe go find Barry Waymiller's podcast. Waymiller is Wehmiller. Go find theirs, because theirs is just incredible, very inspiring stuff. Work Life with Adam Grant is second hands down there, probably my number 2 favorite. His stories of what goes on in the workplace are absolutely awesome, hilarious, heartwarming, great, fantastic stuff. As far as books go, there's tons of books out there. I would say if you are just getting into it, yes, you can go find a book of Lean Thinking by James Womack. That's how so many of us start. Other people start with another book called The Toyota Way. There's a few other books. I really liked the one book that really did it for me was called Gemba Kaizen by Masaki Amai. And most people joke and say it's the most dry book that they've ever read. And unfortunately, it may be dry to some, but for me, it was super exciting. And it's split up into 2 parts. You've kind of got your knowledge-based learning in the beginning, and then your case studies at the end. But there were a lot of really cool concepts in that book that I just gravitated towards. Absolutely loved it. Anything, I would say that's a good place to start off your journey. And when you're through there, if you begin to hear things about Toyota Kata, slowly get into there, but get into the basics first, and then get into Kata, because Kata is a way of changing your thinking and becoming aware of how you think. And it's really powerful stuff. But if you don't have a structure in which to go with, it's more fun. It was more fun for me to discover it that way. You don't need the other books to do that. You don't have to, but Kata's sure heck is a lot of fun, because that's really some good. What's the word? that's really a great way to build some problem solving muscles. And one other book I'll recommend as well is for problem solving also is Matthew E. May, Winning the Brain Game. One of my favorite books for actually having to solve a problem, and 7 different ways you can solve any problem. Easy.
Thanks, Mark. So could you please share your contact information or LinkedIn handle so people can get in touch with you if they want to learn more about you and lean concepts?
Best way to reach me is probably through LinkedIn. And you can just find me at Mark, M-A-R-K, Smeets, S-M-E-E-T-S. And I've put a bunch of my own resources on there. So, like, for example, my reading podcast list are actually in my articles. I am on Twitter under the handle Mr. Mark Smeets.
Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate your time. This was filmed via Skype interview in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada by Styx Communications. And this is yours truly, Christina Galea. Until next time, bye.